Welcome everyone to the Kendall Report. Tonight's video will be brief. As you know, I have a live stream on Wednesday at 1:30 New York time. In Wednesday's live stream, it's going to be somewhat unique. The first hour is going to be about markets. I'll go into the primary markets. In the next part of the live stream, we're going to do a deep dive into the infrastructure deal and specifically the semiconductors and equipment. So this will be interesting. What you'll get from this is we're going to go through around 33 stocks, and this is an institutional grade presentation we're doing on what the step-by-step you're going to do if you're going to run a substantial amount of money, maybe build an ETF. I'm looking forward for going through that, be bringing an associate on to do that with us tomorrow, so make sure you come to the live stream. But as we come into today, there's really not a lot of information coming out. We do have mortgage apps, we have import-export prices, we also have the Fed beige book. Just as I set up before, there's not going to be any material impact. But as we look back on yesterday, the CPI came in basically as expected, maybe even a touch lighter on the core. Inflation was coming from energy prices as gas prices have shot up over the past several months. So we know where the inflation is, and these price pressures will continue as we go forward. But the markets liked what they heard. The techs took off today and led the way. The S&P was up 0.3, NASDAQ up 1.1%, and the Russell was down 0.2. So that spread just keeps collapsing. I told you several weeks ago that I thought the NASDAQ would make an all-time new high. It's done that. I believe we're going to see much more on the upside in the NASDAQ. It's going to continue to keep the leads in the markets, at least for the next maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I don't see that leadership changing back toward the small mid caps or the value stocks. Those things got way overplayed. Now we're seeing the small caps just remain in a sideways range. The interesting thing that happened was even though the markets were able to run into new highs on the S&P and the NASDAQ, we did not get a lot of traction in our database. In fact, we lost a little bit, percent bullish downtick. I'll go through all the details in a minute. In tonight's video, I'll get you set up for the early morning, and then I will see you at 1:30, just a little bit past mid-session, to go through the markets with you and present some concepts that I think you'll find interesting and how to position your money as we go over the next several months. So let's go ahead and take a look at the charts and see how they're set up for Wednesday. As we look at the WaveTech Database, as I mentioned in the front end of the video, is that we did see 221 buy signals versus 279 sell signals. We downticked just a little bit to 39.91% bullish. So we continue to hover around the 42%, but we can't seem to get a sustained move above this. And we are starting to see, as you'll see in a minute in the technicals, some acceleration on the upside on the PPMs, but we're not getting the traction in the database really to be able to drive the market in a robust way. It's likely that we will continue to just grind this market higher. I don't see much downside, but it does look like it will grind higher. I'm briefly going to cover just the S&P, NASDAQ, and gold tonight, and then I will see you at the live stream at 1:30 New York time. But as we look at the futures overnight, we are seeing some strength. We're up 3 handles right now. The overall range has been fairly tight, only 8 handles from high to low, 60,000 contracts traded. It's about a half hour after London opened, so we're seeing not a lot of activity, and I don't think we're going to see much until we come into those big reports coming out on Thursday. As we look at the market grid for today, likely scenario is for an S1 R2 that would be 4124, R2 4149. So there's not a lot of activity. PPMs remain in a positive mode. As I mentioned, we're starting to see some acceleration. PPM1 is at a plus 0.41 now. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the SPX just to get the market grid for today. Yesterday's range, we've traded right into the RTX number, 41.48 was the high exactly. The RTX number was 41.50. So we came just to that range. We closed back below the R3 number. But as we look at the market grid for today, the same expectation, 41.35 would be an S1, R2, 41.54. So I do expect to see this market continue to move a little bit higher, a slight expansion in the range volatility. So that is a good sign for the markets as well. The next market that I'll cover is the NASDAQ. We're seeing also a very quiet range so far overnight. The range has been 13,988 to 13,957. S1, 13,935. So we haven't come to that, but I believe the range should be like with the S&P and S1, R2 possibility. Once we get through the 14,116 level, that will be the pivot point, and that could set the tone for more of an acceleration, trading as far up as R3. A penetration of 13,335 at S1 would be unlikely at this time, but if it does happen, then the next number is 13,889 and S2. Everything is set up for an S1 R2 range for today. The final market that I'll cover tonight is gold. Gold had a very nice reversal yesterday, experiencing an outside day. If we can close higher today above the 1747 level, then we are likely to see at least 2 more sessions on the upside. It does look like we're getting some nice acceleration out of PPM1. PPM2 is still kind of flat, but we're seeing PPM3 turn up. So this is a very positive sign, and I'm expecting to see gold finally start to move up towards some of these numbers that I've talked a lot about around the 1763 level. That will be our next challenge in this market. This will complete the video tonight. We'll see you at the live stream tomorrow, Wednesday at 1:30 New York time. Hey folks, if you enjoyed this content, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell so you'll know when I do these videos.